James, how are you?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Sorry about our
yes.
snowboarding chat before you joined.
Yeah, hey, how are you
How you
guys?
doing? Yeah,
I'm
really well,
doing
thanks.
yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited about, speaking with you and your team and talking about e-commerce and the platform. I love your platform, so I'm really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for joining to speak to us today. Um, just before I jump in and tell you about the call, is it okay if I hit record so that we can have a record of this conversation?
Yes, yes, it's perfectly fine.
That's amazing. Thanks so much. I'll just get that going. So, James, to properly introduce ourselves, I'm Sasha, obviously joined by Jay, and we're both in the product marketing team at Shopify. And really, we wanted to speak to you today to understand your journey to our platform. I've seen that you recently re-platformed, or you're fairly new to Shopify anyway, and it sounds like you might have re-platformed from a different provider. So I'd love to hear about your story of why you decided to join Shopify instead. And yeah, really just more about your initial perceptions of Shopify, the research which you did before deciding to join, and any maybe apprehension that you had about Shopify to begin with as well, as that's really useful for us to know about so we can sort of try and cater for those concerns too.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
I actually been a long term investor, like in the stock for a
oh,
minute, and
okay.
it was so weird because I owned the stock, but I was using a different platform because I had a business partner who they that's what they did. They specialize in building like websites, so they built out my website on like Squarespace. So I was using them for a
Okay.
minute, and it was just because I didn't really take control of that. But then once I started doing my own thing and building out, so I actually have several different companies on there. So I have a
Okay.
company called Black Millionaires on there, and I have James Hill
Okay.
TV on there, and I just run my business through there. And one thing I did notice is the conversion rate went through the roof. So like I was so
Wow.
like my conversion rate on my old website was like 2.5%, which is decent. And then on my when I turned to Shopify, it was like 8 or 9%. And then the analytics are so much richer and so deep that I can make informed business decisions based on my marketing. And I do primarily all of my marketing through Facebook and Instagram. And
Hmm.
then, I noticed you guys did a partnership with them to help small businesses in 2020, which was amazing. So
Hmm.
it all went into play, and I love the apps that you guys have that I can integrate from my several different websites that I have into
Uh-huh.
Shopify. So it just only made sense for me to move all of my businesses over to Shopify that I can.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I would love to dive into all of this at some point during the call, but maybe just to start off with, can you give us a bit of an idea of, your background, what prompted you to start a business
Hmm.
or businesses?
Yeah, so I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Grew up on the east side of Detroit. I went to college for communication and marketing, and I
Hmm.
always said I wanted to work at a startup. I'm like, I want to work at a startup
Okay.
because I saw all these companies getting acquired, and I'm really into the stock market. So I'm like, my first job I want to work at a startup, but that didn't really happen. I got an internship at Rocket Mortgage, which Quicken Loans, which is Rocket Mortgage now on the stock market, and I became a mortgage banker. So I was working in finance, and then once I started working in finance, I got an opportunity to ride on the private jet of the owner of the company, which exploded my mind. And I'm just like, look, I need to figure out how to start a business. I need to figure out this, entrepreneurship stuff because I've been studying entrepreneurship for years in college, even before I was an entrepreneur. So I used to be reading books and stuff like that on entrepreneurship and business, just preparing myself because I wanted to work at a startup. But I didn't get that opportunity, so I ended up starting my own company. Um,
Cool.
so right now I own well, it's like two companies in one, but they all intertwine together. So
Okay.
my name is James Hill. So James Hill TV is like my personal brand. And I own a company called Black Millionaires, which promotes financial literacy in the Black community. And we're about to roll out several different products, and we have a lot of digital products that we sell. And the digital products comes through my online business portal, which is called the Upgrade. And the Upgrade, I do that through Thinkific. And Thinkific, you guys have an app on the back end that allows Thinkific and courses to be sold through my Shopify store, which is why I converted over, because the conversion rate was, from my old website and my old platform was like 2%. And that's because people would have to come to my website and then click on another website to go to my course. And now people can check out through Shopify and then sign up on the back end after they checked out through my through Thinkific. So that just made the friction of from me to the customer, that made it a lot lower, which made my conversion a lot higher. So once I stopped doing mortgage banking, I wanted to create, I still wanted to educate my community on financial literacy. I was licensed in 18 states across the country to do mortgages. So I just created a page called Millennial Mistakes. And that was just basically to, promote financial literacy, help people with budgeting and student loans. And it didn't work. It was like a failure. I lost like $10,000. And I actually quit that business. And then once I quit, I still had the hunger and the drive to keep going. So I created the company called Black Millionaires, and it was basically the same concept. And that actually picked up traction. So that allowed me to get probably got like 470,000 followers on Instagram right now. And then, Instagram and Facebook has a partnership with Shopify. So I partnered and, I have my Facebook pixel and all of that on my website, which increased my conversion and my marketing, and all of the tools that Shopify offers partner with Facebook was a big driving factor of why I switched over. And again, I have a marketing background, so creating content and viral content to bring people to my website is kind of a skill set that I have. And I just use that skill set to drive traffic to my website, and that's how I run my three companies, my three brands under my one company through Shopify.
Love it. You must be pretty busy. That's a great story. It's a great story of resilience as well, the fact that you weren't deterred by that initial when you started.
Yeah.
So maybe you can give us a quick summary of, what your role is within the business, within the businesses. Do you have anyone helping you? Are you doing everything yourself?
Yeah, initially I was doing everything myself, but then I hired 3 team members. So my role as the CEO, I love connecting with the people, educating the people, and creating the viral content. We're in my studio right now in Atlanta. So I opened up a studio for my podcasting, because I have a podcast to also promote my businesses. So I run and I'm just like the face of the business, educating people, and that's what I love to do. So I'm the CEO, and then I have my other team members. So one team member is my production, is like my head of production. So they help me out with the editing of the videos and structuring it, making sure I'm setting up my podcast right, making sure my lighting and everything is right, so I can focus solely on connecting with the people. Then I have an executive assistant that helps me out with my organizing, planning, strategizing to take the company to the next level. And we're rolling out a lot of different products in terms of like physical products like shirts, wallets, cups, a lot of things like that built around the brand. So I have another team member that I just hired for as my logistics coordinator to help with the shipping, fulfilling orders, getting the packages out to my team members. So that's going to roll out mid-March. So I was doing everything on my own initially, and then once I started scaling, because my conversion went up, so my sales went up, I've been able to hire other people and give other people opportunity. So my role is just the CEO to manage my team, grow my team, make sure they're okay, make sure everything is good with them, and connect with the people.
Awesome.
When you mentioned for scale, what was the switch that said, hey, I can't do this by myself anymore, and I do need help? Was it the fact that it was too much work, or you just kind of knew ahead of time that you were kind of scaling faster than you wanted to? Tell me what that looked like.
So when I created the company Black Millionaires, I had just failed in one business, so I didn't have any expectations that this was going to take off this fast. But I still have my skills from my marketing. So I had a job, right? I had my first business failed, so I had to go back and get a job. So I had a job, and I just was creating this viral content from my phone. So when I started making a lot of money, I started making more money on my business than my job. So at this point, I'm still making it from my phone though. But I kind of hit a peak, right? Once I hit a peak, probably about $7,000 or $8,000 a month in sales, and then it was all digital, so it was like basically all profit, right? So I'm like, okay, let me try to scale this up to 20, and it was really, really hard to do that because I had a 9 to 5 and I was working from home, COVID, the whole 9, right? So I set up my business to where I can pay so I left my 9 to 5 and I set my business up to where I can pay myself the same salary. And then once I pay myself a salary, now my profit went down. Because I'm paying myself a salary, I got to pay taxes, I got overhead, and then I got a studio, so that's overhead. So now that $10,000 that looked attractive when I was making it from, just from my phone, I'm working a job. I don't have a job anymore. I don't have insurance. I don't have anything. So I had to go out and replace all of that with my on my own for my profits. So at that point, I got all this overhead now, so now I need to find out ways to duplicate myself in the things that, that I'm good at, but I don't particularly enjoy doing, like sitting there and watching a video and editing it. Like, I'm good at that because I was forced to because I couldn't afford to pay no one. But now I can pay someone, and yeah, my profit margin went down, but I had my 24 hours under control. So now that I got my 24 hours under control, I need to duplicate myself and hire other people and put people in position that were better at the skill set that I was trying to get accomplished. So once I left my job and opened up a studio, I was able to see that I can't be at the studio 24/7 because I'll start going out of town. I do speaking engagements. I did a lot of things. So I didn't have time to sit in the studio, work with customers, do customer service and all of that. So I started hiring people to duplicate myself. And that was when I started scaling, and that's when I was able to make more than I was making before, I quit my job.
Right. And then one other thing too is, so like when you're creating this viral content, you probably push these customers, or like those people that see it, you push them to the website.
Mm-hmm.
Were you selling stock on the website, or was it more like the courses like you were talking about?
Yeah, it was pretty much courses and merchandise. I sold out all of the merchandise because I had a fallout with one of my vendors. So that was kind of a hard thing. So I had merchandise and I had digital products. So I had like online courses or like a webinar or like or ebook on how to create viral content and how to grow your social media. Because once I started doing it, a lot of people started reaching out to me like, hey, I'm a small business affected by COVID and all my sales has to be done online. I'm so used to running a cupcake shop in the local area, but now I have to figure out how to package this and sell it online. I figured that out. Now I have to figure out how to grow my Instagram and Facebook to do that. So that's where I came in, and I started selling the digital products to help people get a step-by-step guide in order to do that. And I sell my digital products through Thinkific. And then Thinkific, that's when I connected it to Shopify, and then that's where things took off.
I got you. Nice.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe that's a good segue actually to start thinking about like your experience of building an online store with Shopify. So yeah, like first of all, I mean, would you describe yourself as a technical person?
No, I'm not technical at all, which is why I had in my old business, I had my friend doing it. So I really never learned how to build a website, connect a domain, and none of that. But then when I was forced to do it on my own after, our partnership didn't work out, I was forced to figure it out. So a lot of the friends that I had that were running businesses, every time I asked them, what company do you use? They kept saying Shopify. Then I'm like, okay, I own the stock, but I don't run my business through it. That doesn't really make sense, right? Because I'm making money because the company is doing well, but I'm not making money because I'm not on their platform. So I need to figure this out. So I spent like a weekend just studying, your platform, and then it became very easy because you guys have it set up to where someone who's technical, I'm a marketer. I'm somebody who can get in front of 1,000 people and speak and communicate and do that type of thing. But I'm not a technical savvy person, so I don't code or do none of that. So when I got on Shopify, it was really like drag and drop, click, just implement your words here, and then it'll show you like different templates that you can buy, different templates that you can integrate. It shows you your profit margins and everything on your store with your products. So that was really, really helpful for me because I'm not a technical person at all. And I would have had to hire someone to do that. And I just wasn't making the revenue when I initially started out to be able to do that. So it was really, I was really grateful.
I was going to say, it sounds like you've been able to do quite a lot like by yourself so far anyway, so that's good. What would you say is like the hardest thing that you've done on Shopify in terms of trying to figure out how to do it and how to build it?
Nothing was really hard. It was just I had to understand a lot about how different platforms works. Like for example, I use PayPal and Stripe for my payouts, and I had to realize that you guys have a competing product with Shopify payouts or whatever. So I was seeing how that was looking. I was paying multiple people when I did a sale. So now I'm into my business because I'm doing a lot of scale. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can get rid of those third party processors to do everything through Shopify. That brings my fees and my costs down. And because I'm obviously I want to use Shopify because I saw that most success and the highest conversion. So the hardest thing is to try to integrate all the third-party apps that I use, MailChimp, stuff like that. I got MailChimp, that's great. Thinkific was great. And now I'm trying to figure out my payment processors. And because I sell digital products, that makes it hard. Because I got like an email from you guys like, hey, you sell digital products for these type of products, so you would have to use a third-party processor unless you integrate a different unless you switch your business model around in terms of the digital products that you offer. So I'm working back and forth with your team on that, and once I figure that out, that's pretty much the hardest thing and the problem that I'm having with the platform. It's not really a problem, it's just more of a revenue. It's taking from my revenue just a little bit, but I'm going in scale and I'm rolling out more products. And if I'm going to make $1 million, then that small bit of fee or whatever I'm gonna pay is probably going to turn into a lot. So before I get to that level, I'm trying to get that under control. So that was really the hardest. That's the hardest thing and the challenge that me and my team are working on. But we're working with your team members to figure that out.
Okay, that's really cool. That's good to hear then. Yeah, go ahead.
Just one question I kind of wanted to ask too is like you were using Squarespace before, and you said that your business partner, old one, had built that for you. How come you didn't stay with Squarespace? Like, if it was already built, like, what was the driving factor saying like it's time for change?
Well, really, the factor that really tipped the scale was all of the apps that I can integrate with Shopify that I use. And my biggest revenue driver is my digital products, because I have so much success with my Instagram that people are like, I need to figure this out. So I made my products very, very affordable. So a lot of people are able to buy that and use that to grow their business, and they're grateful for that. But because I couldn't integrate that with Squarespace, it was 2 or 3 layers before they can get to my course, right? Gotcha. So because on Instagram, you're only allowed to put one link in your bio. So if I only can put one link in my bio, I was forced to either put my courses in my bio or to put my website in my bio. And if I put my courses in my bio, now I'm not selling my other products. If I put my Shopify in my, not Shopify, if I put my Squarespace link in my bio, now I'm not selling my courses. But when I was able to get Shopify, I was able to integrate my courses and my products all on one interface. So now all the marketing that I'm running is going to one website, which strengthens my pixel through Facebook, which allows me to retarget and remarket and make my conversions for my advertising or driving my sales to my website. That is what increased my conversion rate. So that's what made sense, because you guys have a partnership with Facebook, Squarespace didn't, and I can't integrate my third-party apps. So it's kind of like 2 or 3 things led to me switching over, and I won't be switching back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, nice. So, and when you said that specifically the apps you're talking about, I know you mentioned Facebook, but like, were there any other apps in particular which Squarespace weren't letting you use?
Well, so they were letting me use it, but the biggest driver was Thinkific, because
Okay.
they didn't have a partnership with, they didn't have an app on the back end for Thinkific. So
Okay.
I was able to integrate all of my products from Thinkific as a product on my Shopify store. So now instead of you going to 2 or 3 different websites, you're coming to one website, but you're buying through 3 different portals, right? So now I can sell my product on one website, but when they make the purchase, they get an email from Thinkific saying set up your site. So now they have access to my online business portal, which is called the Upgrade, and they have access to Black Millionaires, which is my website that I own. That's directly with my Facebook. I mean, with my Instagram.
It's so I have to soundbite this because I used to work on the sales team, and a big part of it was like trying to talk about Shopify, and everything would always go into apps, right? People would say like, why would I want to use an app? And this is the exact reason, right? Like you've basically unfragmented a bunch of different things, put them in one place with apps. So now you have one kind of true experience for your customer, which is exactly like why your conversion rate went up. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, that's a great story. It's great to hear. Yeah, like I'd be interested to hear a bit more about like the impact that was having on the day-to-day running of your business as well.
Well, so now that I am able to integrate all of my apps, I really only have to run one website, which is the Shopify website. So now all of the time that I was dedicating to doing customer service on this website, doing customer service over here, doing customer service over here, I'm only solely focused on my Shopify site and driving traffic to that. So that bought me about 2 or 3 hours of customer service time and working with 3 different websites. So now I have one website set up, the Upgrade, my business portal. Once I upload my courses on there, that's all I have to do for the month, or for however long I'm gonna keep it on there. But I interact with my Shopify day to day because I can sell my digital, my physical products, my courses, and my merchandise. I can sell all of that on one portal. So now I can focus on it. And Shopify allows me, with the plan that I have, to give access to my other team members. So now when I'm talking to my team members based on customer service, if I'm on the road, we're looking at the same portal and I'm saying, okay, fulfill that order, fulfill this order, right? But before, I was on the phone with them and I'm like, okay, pull up Squarespace, now pull up Thinkific, now pull up this. Now I got to give them access to 3 different sites, 3 different passwords, 3 different portals. So it was just a lot going on with that. So now I can streamline the process. And if I'm going and doing a speaking engagement or a podcast or interview like this, my business is still running because my team members have access to it and they can fulfill the orders and just send me confirmation that everything has been taken care of. So I'm able to operate as a real CEO and think about the strategy of the company and not doing everything and paying attention to all the small details. I have other team members that can do that.
Yeah, love it. And I guess you're not paying for multiple platforms as well.
Exactly, right? So that lowered my overhead. Exactly.
Yeah. I guess I'm interested to know, like, at what point you finally made that decision to switch, because how long were you on Squarespace before deciding to move?
Well, what I guess if you're gonna count my failed business, I probably was with them probably about, so I was with Wix first. I was with Wix first with my team, and then he switched over to Squarespace, and then when I got away from that partnership, I was still on Squarespace because the business was still running. So I was with other platforms for about probably a year and a half. And then I finally switched over to Squarespace, and that allowed me to grow.
You switched to Shopify?
I mean, to Shopify, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Just trying to follow. Okay, so you switched after a year and a half. Actually, I'd be interested to hear a bit about your experience with Wix too in a second. But first of all, what happened a year and a half in that really made you decide, okay, this was the moment that I need to switch to Shopify? Like, was there a defining moment, something that happened?
Yeah,
Accumulation.
When I start looking at my business from a standpoint of as a CEO and not like a solo entrepreneur, like just doing it on my own and doing everything on my own. When I started looking at the time I was committing to multiple websites, multiple third-party apps that I couldn't integrate, and customer service and all of that, when I really wanted to scale and grow my business, because when I was making the money and I had my salary and I'm making my money from my business, it looks gravy, right? Because someone else is paying me a salary, which is, paying for my lifestyle. Someone else is providing me with benefits. Someone else is covering my overhead. So all my money from my business was going reinvested back into the business. When I had to really operate as a CEO and I had a payroll, I started to see like, okay, the conversion rate over here is 2%. I need to figure out how to increase that to drive my sales to pay for this overhead.
Right.
So when I started looking at all the apps I was doing and the systems that I had when I hired my assistant, she started looking at Shopify, and she was like, well, I use Shopify for XYZ, and I know a lot of people who use Shopify for this, and I know people with clothing lines and all type of brands, different brands, and they all were using Shopify, and they had nothing bad to say about it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should give Shopify a chance. And then I started doing research. And when I found out I could integrate my apps and everything, I'm like, okay, so I can increase my sales and my conversion. And I can not operate on 3 different portals and operate on one portal, which saves me time. So I'm making money and I'm saving time. So it was really a no-brainer at that point.
Okay, so it sounds like that was pretty much your selection criteria. Then I have to be able to add these apps that I want, have to be able to put everything on one platform.
Yeah.
Were there any other must-have criterias for when you were researching Shopify?
When I wanted to bring physical products, a lot of people were talking about if you are e-commerce brand and you're selling physical products, Shopify is the way to go, because of the shipping rates you guys give in terms of the different plans you offer. So that was a huge driving factor, because a lot of business owners, depending on the product you're shipping, you can actually make money on shipping by having the partnership with Shopify, because you guys give us a discount. So because we're doing volume, right? So if I sell 100 products and I get a discount, that discounts add up. So even if it's like $1.50, $2, whatever that discount may be, that adds up when you're doing a high volume. So I looked into that, and I wanted to make sure I could take advantage of that, because we are rolling out physical products and things of that nature that we're literally going to have to ship. So that was a huge determining factor as well, because the other apps I was using, like Squarespace and Wix, I had to go pay for another third-party service in order to get that same discount I was getting from Shopify. So I'm like, well, if I'm getting all of this straight off of one app, paying one service, I would rather pay the one service and get the top plan that they offer, or the mid-level plan that they offer to get all these services, compared to 6 or 7 different subscriptions. It just made it a lot easier to pay one provider and get the top quality service from one provider compared to 7 different services.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Jay.
Mine's kind of like a long question, but as you kind of sell product and move into that kind of like merchandising field, what are the pieces that you're looking at from like an inventory perspective as well? Like shipping is one thing. I'd love to know, when you're thinking of inventory, like how does that look for you when you're trying to kind of like evaluate if Shopify is good enough, or if you're looking at other solutions, yada yada. But tell me what that looks like.
So one of the products that I'm going to roll out is like merchandise, right? And I'm primarily a media company, so I'm not like a clothing brand, if that makes sense, even though I'm going to be selling clothes. So what I want to do is get my brand out there. So I don't want to sell my clothes at a really, really high margin. I want to sell them in volume. But Shopify has a feature on the product page where you can literally input your profit margin, right? So when you input your profit margin, I can see if I sell, 2,000 of these, I'm going to be able to make the same amount of money at this price point compared to if I sell 1,000 at a higher price point. And again, I'm going for volume with t-shirts, because I have a person who's working on my logistics and printing the t-shirts actually in my studio. So that brings my cost level down, and I can bring that cost and help the consumer save money, because if I can sell you a high quality t-shirt at $10 or $15, it's a no brainer. You're just like, all right, I'm bought into the brand, I want to buy from you. But if I didn't figure that out and figure out that price point, and I didn't get good rates on shipping, I would have to pass that over to the customer, which is probably going to lower my sales, lower my conversion. And now my brand isn't getting the recognition that I really wanted. And that's the only reason I'm releasing the merchandise, from a branding perspective and not necessarily a merchandising perspective, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. And then from just kind of a side note, when you're talking about making t-shirts, are you working with any suppliers to get these in bulk order? Are you using purchase ordering? Tell me about that process for you.
Yeah. So I'm working with a company down here in Atlanta, and it's just all working out. It's crazy. So I'm able to buy my t-shirts in bulk and go pick them up, because they have a local warehouse in Atlanta, which saves me money on shipping and allows me to sell a lot of products and not really even have to have the inventory, which saves me money because I don't have to actually go out and put my cash up. For example, let's say I sell 500 t-shirts, right? Because my price point is just, it's very affordable. I can place that order because I have a person I work with directly at the company. And if I place that order before 11 a.m., I can go pick that up locally. 500-600 t-shirts, even 1,000 t-shirts, right? So if I run a sale overnight and say $10 t-shirts, right? $15 t-shirts, when most t-shirts are $40 and $50, and I sell 500 to 600 of them, I can literally just tell my logistics person, all right, it's 8:30 in the morning. It's an hour away, so we go get the truck, go up there and pick up 500 black t-shirts, 600 white t-shirts, 700 red t-shirts, and fulfill the orders based on. So it's like I'm not drop shipping, but because I stay right by the warehouse, it's sort of like I have the privilege of doing it that way. So I don't have to go out and buy, $3,000 worth of inventory. Once I sell $1,000 worth of inventory, I just have to literally go pick the inventory up because I have a revolving credit line with the company. So it all literally just works out.
Huh, nice. So you're tracking the products, but you're not necessarily tracking like the inventory specifically, just because you have that convenience of being super close to the supplier.
Well, so I'm going to track the inventory as well, because I'm always going to want to keep some in-house. So for the orders I have to ship out today, like we have like 500 shirts in there that we haven't uploaded to the site yet, but it's a funny story with that. I'm not a designer, I'm a marketer, right? I'm the people person getting out there. And I ordered some shirts, just like some test shirts, and I put them up, and I was like, how many people would like these? And I got so much good feedback, right? So I'm about to put them on the Shopify site to launch, and somebody DM'd me like, hey, you have a typo on there, right? So I had a typo on one of my shirts, and I was about to sell like 500-600 shirts. I have like all these people hit commenting saying that they wanted the shirts or the merchandise. So I'm a few weeks behind because I messed up on that. But I do have, now that we're trying to ramp up because we're behind, I have about 500 shirts that we're working on. So that's my inventory level. I'm probably going to keep about 500 shirts in. Everything over 500, I'll have to just go pick up from the local warehouse that I work with.
Gotcha.
Sweet, yeah. Oh, it sounds like you're in a great position there.
Yeah.
So convenient.
Yeah, I mean, and I did it just by, paying for knowledge and paying for like coaching with people who had success with your platform. They're like, hey, I'm having success. I'm like, okay, help me out with mine. So yeah, it's just it's a good situation.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I think we've got about 10 minutes left. I don't want to take up too much more of your time after that, because I know we said it'll be a 45-minute call. I guess that's what I'd love to hear about in the last 10 minutes is like anything you were a bit like apprehensive about before joining Shopify, because it sounds like it ticked a few boxes, but maybe was there anything that you weren't quite persuaded on?
Well, so if you just line one thing that was hard is when you just line up all the cost structures for all of the platforms. Shopify seems so much more expensive because you're like because for example, I was paying for 3 or 4 different apps on top of my Wix or Squarespace, right? And because I'm paying for those 3 different apps, I'm also paying for Squarespace and Wix or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I actually looked at all the apps I can integrate into Squarespace, into Shopify, Shopify was actually less expensive. But from the naked eye as a business owner, you don't know that until you're actually using it on the platform. So that was just one thing that I was kind of apprehensive about switching over because I thought I would have to switch over and still pay, for the shipping aspect of integrated that third party, and I was still going to have to pay for a lot of other apps that I didn't want to pay for, but I was able to integrate with Shopify. So just lining platforms up, it seems like wow, Shopify is way more expensive. But I learned that you get what you pay for, and if you pay, for the one platform that is that gives you a lot of scalability to all the apps and everything you can integrate, that actually lowers your costs because you're not working with 7 and 8 different apps. So I didn't know that initially coming in, but that's something I tell a lot of my clients that I do coaching with entrepreneurship. Like if you want to streamline your platform, and it may be more expensive up front to the naked eye, but when you look at all the money you're saving and the time you're saving and the conversion that you have with your products and your sales, you're going to make more money by going with the better platform that may be more expensive on a monthly basis. So that was the only thing when I lined up Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify next to each other, like on paper, without understanding the back end of all the platforms. Shopify looks more expensive on the pricing standpoint compared to Squarespace and Wix. That was the only thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, how significant was that concern? Had you been looking at any other platform providers because of the cost of Shopify?
No, those were the only 3 that I had experience with. I was pretty much done with Wix. I really didn't like I didn't like that one. Squarespace was working for me, but I kind of hit a wall. Because I was looking at deep diving into my analytics, and it was only so much I can see into my analytics. So it was a lot about my business that I wasn't understanding. And once I was able to switch over to Shopify, I actually I switched to Shopify, and I kept Squarespace on a different platform to try to compare the two. And then it just was it was like a no-brainer to move over to Shopify. So that's basically, I had to kind of I had to do like a test run. And I think you guys offer like a free trial or something like that. So I did the free trial, and then it just made sense to move forward from there.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, awesome. Oh, okay, that's great to hear. And I'm not surprised you're not the first person I've spoken to who have been a little bit concerned about the cost of Shopify, and I wonder whether that is the reason sometimes why people try different platforms first. But yeah, that's interesting to hear. Maybe you could just really quickly tell us about your experience with Wix. We might as well go through all of them.
So with Wix, it was just it's supposed to be user friendly, but with me not being tech savvy, they had a lot of different features that to the naked eye you would think, oh, I want all these features, right? You think more is better, but when you're just trying to build your product and build your business, and you just want a sleek design, you want your customers to enjoy your interface, and that's pretty much it. You don't need all those other things that they were offering that were kind of counterproductive to my business model, in my opinion. So it's other people who have a great time on Wix and they use it. But just for my business model, me being a marketer, somebody who's not tech savvy, somebody who just has an idea, have some products or services to sell, and I want to get it out to the masses and track my analytics, which is probably a lot of small business owners. Shopify was a no-brainer to me because I didn't want to go through and try to build something. And I was feeling like I had to be a designer, and I caught myself like looking up YouTube design videos and all that, and I'm just like, I didn't go into business to be a designer. I went into business to actually scale my products and teach.
Okay.
And
So
I
you're talking
didn't.
about like the actually like store designing.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
Wix.
store designing and all of that. I didn't like how theirs were set up. So they are the reason I moved from Wix to Squarespace, and then I moved from Squarespace to Shopify.
Okay, cool, interesting. Oh, that's really good to hear. I mean, obviously for us, I know that Wix are making a lot of changes in that space as well. So it's a lot of things going on. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I think I've gone through all the questions which I wanted to talk to you about. It's just been so interesting to hear your journey, James, and like, obviously it's a story of resilience, but also like, your savviness of just sorting things out and cutting those margins. I love that. Jay, do you have any last questions for James?
No, I have a bunch of questions, but it's actually sitting here for another 2 hours, so I'll let them go. But this was really helpful, actually. Like a lot of interesting, kind of like nuggets of information here too. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, I really appreciate you guys for reaching out to me and allowing me to share my ideas and my experience. I'm not sure who's going to see this or if you guys are just recording it for your team, but I hope it helped you guys. I know you're on the product development team, so it's probably going to help you guys think about different apps and different products you can bring to help business owners and small business owners like myself. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. It tends to be the way where we take sort of nuggets from the phone calls and like send it off to different people and different teams who are like, it's interesting for me, I think you should hear this. Definitely for us, like we want to make sure like the message that Shopify is putting out to people is that it's something which like it can help you with. So like hearing about your concerns around cost or like, the way that you wanted things to be able to scale your business, that's really good things for us to be able to say like more, exactly like you're doing with your mentoring, but helping other people like be interested in the product because of the things we offer. So
yeah, and it's interesting too because we're taking a deeper dive into kind of like working with creators and kind of influencers as well, which sounds like you're kind of like spot on with that, and being able to help them sell as well. So like how you're talking about having digital courses and selling more digital products rather than just the physical ones is it'll be massive for that team too. So I'm interested in connecting with them and seeing what they think about this.
All right, guys. I really appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy your day and keep doing great work. Keep doing great work because I love your company.
Thanks, James. And I'll apply the credit now to your account. You should see it in the next bill cycle that you get coming through on your invoice.
Okay, I didn't know I was getting a credit. What's that about? I didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it's just it's just a thank you from Shopify for taking part in the research with us. We want to make sure that it's been valuable for you as well. So it's $60 and we'll apply it to your subscription credit. So it'll just be deducted from like whether you pay monthly or annually. So you'll see on your invoice there.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, awesome.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Have a good one.
Bye.
What's good? What's good? What's good? Let me read some of this. What's good? What's good? Let me read some of y'all comments, man. Thank you for the badges for sure. Thank you for the badges for sure. What's going on? For sure. I gather he's cooking to represent. I figure he has us here to learn in real life. But this is what I got. I have never heard of Shopify. That's dope. Definitely intro. Yeah, he didn't do an introduction in the beginning, so that makes sense. Thanks for this, bro. Only do with industry person in the universe. I hear more about Shopify than story. Time to switch. What's good? What's good? I'm just reading some of y'all comments. Let's see. inviting us to his interview and meeting. Yeah, I definitely wanted to invite y'all in. I'm the plug 111. So bro, you like trolling right now, bro. I'm trying to educate people on how to grow their business, and you're the only one in here trolling, bro. So if you don't get value out of this, like, get away, bro. Just unfollow the page. Like, it's always one person. I'm trying to open up my opportunities to my following so you guys as small business owners can grow, and it's always one person in there trolling, bro. It just pisses me off. That was your tag. My company tried to leave, but it was wait. So you can tell just. Exactly. You can't tell the company you're using your company backdoor info. Listen to that question. This is pointless if he's not getting a bag for this. I know, but he seems happy and blessed. Thanks a lot of questions to help them understand the platform can help me more. For sure. Shopify. Do vlogs. Wix is not user friendly. I'm trying to do my own pro and con, so I appreciate this input. What's good? Great feedback. Thank you for sharing. I love Shopify. What's good? First live broadcasting time was on point. Thank you. What's good? Y'all want to see my product room? Look at that. Oh, I got some merch coming for y'all. Get ready. I got some merch coming for y'all for sure. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I got some merch coming for y'all for sure. All right, guys, I'm about to get up out of here. I actually have to go take care of some business and clean up my apartment because my girlfriend is about to come down. My birthday is Saturday. My birthday is Saturday. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I wanted to do a service to you and show you guys the platforms and the back ends that I use personally to grow and run my business. Hopefully somebody actually got some value from this. I am going to upload the whole thing on YouTube. So if you guys missed it, it's going to be on YouTube. All right, peace.